Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of BOMA Talks with our fantastic hosts, Susan Light and Star Mosella. And today is really kind of special because this is all about the Tobys. We have with us also our TOBY Chairs. This episode is being recorded so that our property managing professionals can view it several times, as you know you'll want to continue to learn how to submit your awesome buildings for a Tobys. With that, let me take this over to Susan and Star, our wonderful Starlight heroes.
Good afternoon and welcome to BOMA Talks, a monthly series proudly brought to you by BOMA Metro Detroit. Each month we spotlight outstanding members of our BOMA community to expand our network, spark new ideas, and strengthen professional relationships. This series is all about connection, collaboration, and community.
I'm Susan Light, Regional Sales Manager with Clean Agent.
And I am Star Mosella, Senior Property Manager with Friedman Group. As co-chairs of BOMA Metro Detroit Communications Committee, we're your hosts for today's BOMA Talks, and we're so glad you're here.
Miss a show? No problem. You can watch recordings of today's program, especially today's program, past interviews, and find information about upcoming events at www.bomadet.org and on the BOMA Metro Detroit YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode.
BOMA Talks wouldn't be possible without our generous sponsors and our sponsor partner program. We would like to extend a sincere thank you to Guardian Alarm, IMK Cleaning Services, City Elevator, Right Size Facility. Thank you for your continued partnership and support of BOMA Metro Detroit.
And now shout out real quick to our upcoming events. So mark your calendars. Registration is now open for the next upcoming events. Monday, September 14th is our annual BOMA Autumn Open Golf Tournament, which will be held at Rolling Meadows in Whitmore Lake. And then again on October 16th, join us for the annual Pull for BOMA Sporting Clay Tournament, which will be held at the Detroit Gun Club in Walled Lake. So don't forget to register now for both of those because they will sell out fast. And on a quick note, on August 13th, next week at 4:00 p.m., the Emerging Professional Group will be holding an event. Anyone that has under 10 years of experience in the CRE industry can attend. Register now at www.bomadet.org to reserve your spot before it is sold out. Okay, and with that being said, let's get to the good stuff, the TOBY Awards. And some of you might be asking, what are the TOBY Awards about? So today's BOMA Talks is all about the Outstanding Building of the Year Awards, recognizing the best buildings and property management teams across 16 award categories. The TOBY Awards represent the commercial real estate industry's highest honor for excellence in building management and operations. This is unlike other awards that primarily recognize architectural design or aesthetics. TOBY celebrates the teams and professionals who deliver exceptional performance every day through outstanding management, operations, maintenance, and tenant experience. So it is different. This unique recognition is what sets the TOBY Awards apart. Success is built on operational excellence, and that's why our allied members are such an essential part of the program. Their expertise, innovation, and partnership help create the high standards that the TOBY recognizes and celebrates. Today, we're excited to welcome Laura Marble, Renee Ware, and Rachael Wagner, co-chairs of our TOBY committee. They will walk us through the registration application process, explain the award categories, discuss some recent updates, and answer some of the most frequently asked questions. As TOBY judges over as TOBY judges over the past few years, Star and I, we've seen firsthand that the application process can seem intimidating and time-consuming at first. But today's guests are here to show you that entering a building for TOBY is not that difficult, and the reward is long-lasting.
Oh, okay, me. As a team lead member of the TOBY Judging Committee, I know today's discussion will be incredibly informative. You may even discover that one or several of your buildings qualify for one of the updated award categories. And of course, one of the most exciting parts of the TOBY Awards is the opportunity to have your property recognized as one of the industry's very best at the TOBY Awards show, our annual TOBY Awards dinner for the Outstanding Building of the Year Awards for 2026. This event will be held on December 2nd, 2026 at the 7 in Ferndale, Michigan. So let's get started. Please join us in welcoming our special guests, Laura Marble, Renee Ware, and Rachael Wagner.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
So, Star and I, we do have, some questions regarding this. Star and I have been judges for years, and we're just gonna, start this off by asking some questions, if that's all right with everyone. So I'm gonna get it started. I know some people are, wondering what the TOBY Award categories are. So Renee, could you help us with that question?
Yes. The 2027 categories are earth, industrial, mixed use, public assembly, office, life science, medical, renovated, and retail. And just to name a few criterias, office complex can range anywhere from under 100,000 square feet to over 1 million square feet. Medical must be 75% of medical building. And there's no criteria as far as the square footage. Mixed use, that's anything that requires 10% of at least office space and can include anything from retail, entertainment, or residential. And then there's one other criteria, historical. Historical must be at least 50 years old and maintain its original design.
Okay, so I hope everybody can see my screen that I'm sharing. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have all this material available as well. Rick and Rachael, I believe you can share this. So just a brief outline of all the categories as shown here.
Okay, so our second is building qualifications. Laura, why don't you tell us a little bit about those?
Okay, I just threw a link in the chat box that will bring you to the document that I'm gonna share here. Just a moment. All right, just checking. Can you see my screen? Okay,
Yes.
Very good. All right, so the guides that are through that link on the BOMA website are really exactly what you need to get going with everything. This particular one is most of the categories, some of which Renee went over, but there's a separate criteria book specifically for retail, specifically for a earth category and a couple of the others. But I'm just going to look at this one at the moment. When you scroll through, and here's some of those definitions where if you're just not certain what category your building could qualify for, because again, some might qualify as more than one, this helps you maybe determine that. And don't worry about it if you're not sure, just ask us. Just send an email, say, hey, I've got this building, which one would it best go in? And when you scroll down past those, some of that initial criteria, there's the eligibility about what you have to think about. Make sure your building qualifies. What if it's a brand new building your company just started managing 6 months ago? Unfortunately, you get to save that one for next year. But there's a lot of the key points for the local competition is that they do have to undergo a physical building inspection, which we'll get to that in a few minutes. You have to earn at least 70% to be a winner in your category. You also have to be a member in good standing. Rick will hunt you down if not. In the part about the building has to be occupied and operational for 12 months as of June 15th of 2026. A couple of the criteria in this section have to do with if you're going to be in the regional or international competition. We're not going to worry about that at this moment. We're just focusing on the local competition where we can show the best of the best here in Metro Detroit. Your building would only be submitted in one category. Again, we can help you with that if needed. And there is a note about the suburban office parks, which is good. I believe they've clarified this because in the past, you could either submit for a suburban low-rise or a mid-rise, but some people have asked, could they take one of those buildings out and just submit them as a standalone building? And BOMA International is not allowing that. It does have to be, if it is in a suburban low or mid-rise, that is the category it would need to be in. If you scroll through in this booklet, you get down here, this is the mandatory on-site inspection portion. I think I might be ahead of myself in this, but since I'm just right here, can I keep going?
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
just to give you an idea of this page is a good snapshot. This is a snapshot. What are they going to look at when they come? When the group of us judges come, these are the categories that we have to look in and score. And we're going to get to the score sheet in a minute. But this tells you what we're going to look at. If you start thinking through getting the judges through the building, here's your guide. We're going to look at the lobby, it's your safety, security, management office, if you have one there. If you don't, we'll just meet separately elsewhere. Elevators, just look through that list and just get an idea of, okay, these are the things we have to show you. These are the areas that you just want to have inspection ready when the time comes. And despite all the information that will be uploaded in the portal, that and Renee's going to help us with the details of that. There is some of that same documentation you will show us judges while we're on site, and that's listed right here. These 6 items that you would want to have ready to show us. Again, you'll still be uploading that information, but they do want us to look at that physically on site.
Quick question over here.
Yeah.
Quick question. So all this information, because I know it seems like a lot, and we always, preface it seems so intimidating. All this can be found in the portal, correct? Once they log in. What you're reading from.
Yeah, even though that's the criteria booklet, when you've entered your building in the portal, this criteria, these sections, at least the sections of things you have to upload are in there.
Okay.
It doesn't address so much of the on-site information when you're in the portal as it does the required documentation, because that is another half of the judging.
Okay, and of course, if anybody has any questions throughout this this series, by all means, put something in the chat. Laura and Renee and Rachel or Star or anybody will be happy to answer the questions live. But I just wanted to make sure, because I know to me it looks like a lot, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that all this information is basically readily available to everybody, so you don't have to be taking notes or anything like that.
Okay, anything? Yeah, so anyway, that was the building qualifications section in that criteria booklet, your hands-on guide for this entire process. And then because it rolled right into the inspection part, I talked about that already a little bit. So I think now we're going to touch on the guidelines, the deadlines.
Yeah. So Renee, can you talk a little bit about the deadlines? Is there a deadline for when this has to be completed and when the judging happens? If you can kind of go over that, that would be fabulous.
Yes, so the application, we're asking that it be submitted through the portal and by September 9th. And the judging tour will be scheduled between October 5th and October 9th. So please block those dates off on your calendar to make this easier for the property managers and the judges. As far as the application process, you can go on to the BOMA recognition platform. This is where you will need your BOMA username and password. This is where you will access the application portal and enter the information for the building you are submitting. If you are not registered and need access to your account, please contact the BOMA Detroit office for assistance.
Okay, and I'm going to see if I, yeah,
Yes,
that
Deborah.
one doesn't want to pop up. That one doesn't want to share. We tried it earlier today.
Okay.
Okay, we can pop in that, the link to the hub too. Because that is where they'll get started. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, if you go to the hub, Laura, that application process is in there.
Okay, I just wanted to find that sheet that had been shared with those portal instructions.
That's
I
in
think
there.
that,
Well, in
That
in
was
the
the-
meantime, I guess we can go ahead and skip to the initial application process part. Because we're
Um,
submitting the application through the portal access and submission, right? That's,
Right, and
Okay.
that's what I just explained, the submission process.
Right, so there is a submission, quick little, we call it the portal submission form.
or, yeah.
It's not actually a form, it's more of a process, we would say. And we are going to, guess what, ladies? There we go. How is that?
There
There we
it
go.
is.
There we go. Sorry, there's a little
Yeah.
technical difficulties because there's so many screens up. So, Renee, I'll slowly move it for you, if that works.
Well, this is the on the recognition platform. And this is, you get to this page, you have to have an account through BOMA. So therefore, to get to this page, you will have to have a username and a password. And that would get you to this page to be able to enter your information. So.
And to follow what Renee said earlier, if you have any difficulties, please give me a call, an email,
Mhm.
and I'll guide you through that.
Yeah, there's plenty of resources here for anyone who wants to enter anything. We're always available. Renee, myself, Laura, Rick, somebody can get you the answer that you need.
Yep, and it looks pretty self-explanatory. Of course, this information can be shared as well if needed, but always, when in doubt, reach out to the gurus that know what they're doing. It seems pretty self-explanatory and simple, but again, everybody's here to help just to make sure that everything runs smooth. So this is just a quick screenshot of how the application to enter once you're into the portal will look like. Okay.
Okay.
And I think we're on to the next one, which would be Laura explaining some of the inspection requirements. And would you like me to share that screen as well, Laura?
oh, sure. I mean, I did kind of go over that. I already jumped ahead in the, in that
Okay,
criteria booklet. So I hit some of those areas, but we can look more at the inspection forms. I can start sharing that screen.
you got it? I popped it up.
Oh, you
How's
have
that?
it. There it is.
I
Thank
have
you.
it. I told you that's
And
little technical difficulties, but I got
Okay.
everything up on Windows here.
And then I think Renee was going to go over just some of the reminders and we can kind of talk through this form. This is the This is the test before the exam. Like, you get the test ahead of time. That's how I want you to think of this as, oh my gosh, I don't know what they're going to look at, what they're going to score. Yes, you do. This is the sheet you get to get as a property manager is entering your building. This is the sheet that us judges use as we go through. So you will have this. You can start working with your teams on it, and there will be no surprises.
Yeah. And if you notice on the bottom, I'm just going to click this one as office. We have life science and medical, mixed use. So whichever one would be applicable to your property or properties. This is the cliff note, as I call it, the cliff notes. So, and it is rather lengthy, but it gives you a heads up on everything. Okay, and next up, we are going to talk about just, you know, the final reminders on the judging tour, as we call it. So I am going to share one last screen with everybody. Are we doing the judging checklist, or Laura, you have that to show?
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
we
there
could do it that
is
way.
just, sorry, we don't have that. There is just a form that the lead judge will go through just to make sure that we looked at everything when we come through. We have to, the lead judge just has to certify that we saw everything while we're there to make sure that we meet that portion of the TOBY competition, that on-site inspection part.
Okay, so Renee, can you, again, I know this is redundant, but ask, you know, again, what are the dates for everything to be processed or all the applications to be put in? Can you go through that again as well?
Yes, I can. The application must be submitted through the portal by September 9th. Someone from the BOMA office should contact the property managers at least 2 weeks in advance for scheduling. Judging tours will be scheduled between October 5th and October 9th. Judging tours should last 1 to 2 hours depending on the size of the building, provided that the judges have access to all the required information. When the judges arrive at the building, please have a meeting room available so that they can store their items and belongings and be able to meet before and after the tour. Arrange your inspection sheet material in the same order you want your building tour to process. This will make the tour flow a lot smoother and make it easier for the property managers and the judges to follow.
Okay, so again, you know, they will be notified within a few weeks before their time frame, correct? For
Correct.
the judging of the building or property to take place. So, you know, no sooner than that. And you know, it's so definitely the 2-week time frame, which gives them plenty of time to know exactly when we're coming in, you know, the date, the time, so you can schedule it. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I know Laura had brought this up, and I just want to, you know, bring it to everybody's attention. She had mentioned that, you know, September 9th we're almost a month out, and it might seem like a lot of information. And we know that currently we're in budget season, but even just take some time every week. Laura, I think you brought this up, and maybe you can explain more about that by taking time every week to kind of do little sections of the application to get through everything instead of sitting down in one sitting and trying to get it all done.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen again because I'm going back to that lovely handbook that you'll be able to use. And I'm just going to scroll down here to the portfolio specifications. These are the sections where you'll be uploading information in that portal. And it's divided into sections. So if you and your team just, you know, whether it's once a week, just start working on this for the portal uploads. I don't think we said what the date was when everything also has to be uploaded in the portal. Rick, could you clarify that? Is it the week of judging or after the judging is complete that has to be all uploaded?
Prior to the judging.
So like up until like the week before?
Yeah, and then I'm going to be super kind and say like the day before.
Okay. So, and that's important because that's 2 months. Okay. Because we're coming that first full week of October. So that gives you about 8 weeks from now. So kind of look at these sections and just bite them off, whether it's a week at a time or set aside some time, maybe on a Friday where you and your team could work on. Another thing is if you still have interns. Do you still have interns?
Yes.
Maybe not. Maybe they've already left, but maybe you have them a couple more weeks. Have them start helping you compile information and plug things that you have in your operation into these sections. So this first one, it is just basic building information. This is stuff that you'll be uploading, just information and photographs about your building. So not too complicated. It's not like you're going to have thorough team meetings necessarily for that. But then you get into the next sections, building operations and management. And that's where there's going to be some narratives, and it's just a summary of your building. Like if somebody was interviewing you and said, all right, tell me about your building, all these little areas, whatever you go ahead and say, just type that up. There's maximum of 2,000 words. It's not like it's pages and pages of information, but it's like an overview. What are your standard finishes in your building for this area, that area? Describe your fire life safety system. How is your loading dock? What's your parking like? What's your emergency generator situation? Just it's now again for the judges to go through on that portal and just get a visual on what you're building, like the real descriptors. Then there's going to be some attachments, a few things to upload, floor plans, site plan. Doesn't have to be every floor, just the main lobby and 2 additional floors if it's that many floors. Copy of any certifications. So again, if these are things that you can start plugging into some electronic folders in your office to have them already to upload into the portal, which you can start at any time once you've at least gone into that portal and submitted your building saying, yes, BOMA Metro Detroit, I'm going to submit this building in the 100,000 and under square foot category. You can start uploading this information. It's not going to get judged yet, not until we get until the actual inspection time when we'll then go through these documents. But start uploading, start working on these narratives, like the next section 2, life safety, security, and risk management. I know it seems like a lot, 2,000 words, but it's just a summary. It doesn't have to be. That's the maximum. You can do it shorter, but you want to give a nice description of what is your system like. So maybe the expert on your team who understands the life safety, security, risk management the most, that's the person that should probably help you write that up and then, tweak it, make sure it reads clearly. Next section, training and education. Again, there's some stuff just talking about BOMA participation. What kind of training programs does your company have? What kind of team building things do you do? And an attachment of an org chart. So if you look at these sections, and it also gives you the points, so you see which ones are heavier than others. Like energy has more points than some of the others, where there's just information about what you are doing with your building with benchmarking. You are not required to have an Energy Star, and for the local competition, you don't even have to benchmark through Energy Star. But say you already have or you do, that's certainly something that you would want to upload. But go ahead and describe your operation. How are you guys working on energy management in your facility? What have you done? What project have you done? What project are you planning on doing? How do you educate your maintenance staff and your property management staff when it comes to energy management and things of those nature? So and it breaks it down what is required for you to describe, and then some uploads. Like in this case, if you do have an Energy Star certification, then you would upload that. The Section 5, environmental, sustainability, health, and wellness, all kinds of programs that you could describe if you have them. And don't panic if you don't have all these. Not all buildings may have these. It's okay. Describe the ones that you do have. And if you do things well, write about that in this description. And there's a lot of breakdown on there. So there's plenty of things that will prompt you to think about, do we have this or not? The tenant occupant relations and community involvement is pretty hefty when it comes points wise, 30 points. It's almost double some of the other sections. So think about that, what your company is doing related to tenant relations, whether you, what programs you have sponsored or things you do with your tenants, what kind of amenities do you have at your property? What about your tenant surveys? What have you done in I believe it's the last year? And if you've done those surveys, what have you learned from them and what have you implemented? Community involvement might be another thing that your property management team does. Maybe as part of your team building, you do volunteering or things of that nature. And then look at some of the other items on here that you may participate in or your building management team. And that is also what you would either upload as attachments here and also describe. Oh, look, the end of the application. See, so we're already through 6 sections with 8 weeks. So if you just break that down and share the task and use it to work closely with your teams, your support teams, your maintenance team, janitorial, your subcontractors, all of that. It's not just about the property manager doing all this. It's about, if you've got regular meetings with them, then look at some of these sections that apply to them and work them together. So what do we do well? How can we write this up and upload this into the portal to show BOMA Metro Detroit how good we are?
So it's basically taking little bites of the apple to get there instead of trying to consume the whole apple in one sitting, which is, it's a lot of information there, but biting at it little by little definitely will get you through it. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, everybody from Laura, Renee, Rachel, Star, Rick, you can always reach out to anybody on the team. You don't want to reach out to me. I'm going to tell you that right now, but you can reach out to anybody. Extremely helpful. So with that, are there any questions at this time that someone would like to put in the chat so we can, answer them? Again, if you don't have any, that's great. If you think about something, by all means, you have full access to Rick, and he can, you can reach out to Rick and he can take all the emails and, spread them out, and we can answer any and all questions that you have. So if there's any at the time, if somebody wants to put anything in the chat, by all means, please do. We can answer those questions now if anybody has any.
And we can share even some of those other criteria, guidelines too, like the one that's specifically for retail or the one that's for mixed use, public assembly. They have their own booklet. Those sections are still going to be the same, those ones that I just went through, but there's a couple components within the booklet that might be a little bit different. So that's why using that link that's in the chat box is key, because it'll bring you to the whole list of all those different criteria booklets so you can look through and see which one is going to fit your building or buildings.
I don't think we have any questions at this time.
No, but we probably will after. So
Yeah.
which is fine. We're always available. Like I said, if you can direct them to Rick, and then Rick can either put you in contact with Laura, Renee, or myself, or Rachel, and we can kind of go from there.
Okay, so
All right.
you want to bring it on home, Sarah?
Bring it on home. Yep. Thank you for
Hey,
joining
let
us
me
today.
throw in a couple announcements though.
Oh, sure.
Hot off the presses later today. This is going to be on BOMADET.org, our website.
Oh,
But
great.
on September 23, which falls on a Wednesday, September 23, from 11 to 12, we will continue our TOBY Tour building series at the Fox Theater.
Ooh.
All right.
Now,
sounds good.
there will be limited opportunities, a maximum of 40 people for this tour. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, later this afternoon, it's going to go live for registration. So you're the first to know. Sign up early.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And
Yeah.
we've got some fantastic sponsors. And although I can't tell you where right now. We will be going out for lunch afterwards.
Ooh, what's around there? I'm trying to think.
We have a place. I just can't divulge yet.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for joining us today. Remember, today's recordings will be available in our newsletter on our BOMA Metro Detroit YouTube channel and under
But
the
you better
events
not
tab
watch.
at www.bomadet.org. We hope today's conversation inspired you to explore the TOBY Awards and all that they have to offer. We can't wait to see you at our next BOMA Talks.
I'm Susan Light.
And I'm Star Masella.
Thanks together, Star.
Yep, thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining us for
Yes,
another
Starlight
Starlight production.
Productions.
Thank you, everyone.